everyone, it's Sarah from Sassy Reads, and I'm back in my old location. I've moved out of my apartment back home. It's been a busy weekend. I don't think I ever wrapped up the last video I did, so when I go and edit it, I'll do that. But I figured that I would start talking about some more 22 releases. I think I'm gonna try to keep this one a little bit more open in genre. It will have more horror books as opposed to other genres, but there are some other books I want to talk about. One of those books I have just finished like 3 days ago. It's called You've Lost a Lot of Blood by LaRocca. This is a novella within a novella that also contains like poetry and recordings. So essentially what you need to know, there are two men. One is named Martyr Black and one is named Ambrose Thorne, and they've both gone missing. Martyr Black and Ambrose were not just lovers but serial killers, and they've gone missing, and this journalist who knew Ambrose collects Martyr Black's novella that's called You've Lost a Lot of Blood alongside of his poetry and audio recordings about him contemplating murdering Ambrose, as well as them discussing philosophy, movies, art, and their killings. So it is very much similar to the vein of Eric LaRocca's last novella, Things Have Gotten Worse Since We've Last Spoke, which is a novella that I enjoy. While I am quite aware of the issues that there are with Things Have Gotten Worse Since We've Last Spoke, I generally enjoyed it and I flew through that. This novella is quite interesting because the beginning had me. Like, I thought I was gonna give this 5 stars at the beginning. I was like, this is so much better than Things Have Gotten Worse Since We Last Spoke. However, the novella that is written by Martyr Black loses its footing and it becomes very disjointed, and it's a hot mess express. It ain't good, folks. I was like, if I had read Martyr Black's book as a reviewer, it would have got like 2 stars. It's not a good novella. It's an even worse horror novella. Like, not good at all. And like, to know that this guy's a serial killer, I was like, I would expect more from you, sir. Like, if you're gonna like go there in real life, why aren't you going there in your writing? Like, come on now. And I couldn't help but in my head think of Exquisite Corpse, which is one of my favorite horror novels. And Poppy Z. Bright goes there. He is a writer who, goes there. Poppy Z. Bright had 2 gay lovers who became cannibals. This doesn't go in that direction, but like, I kept wanting it to get a little darker, a little bit creepier, and it didn't go there. It didn't give, which is shocking because Things Have Gotten Worse Since We Last Spoke was like disgusting. If you've read that book, you know what I'm talking about. It's like disgusting, like The Troop, without spoilers. But if you've read The Troop, then you can kind of put together what I'm talking about. Also, My Best Friend's Exorcism has one of those disgusting things, which I read a lot of last year in 2021. Don't know how I got to that section of the horror genre, but I was reading quite a lot of it. And I wanted more, and I feel like that last section of the novella within the novella is what took it away. Then the ending didn't wrap up, which I knew Eric LaRocca was gonna do because Things Have Gotten Worse Since They've Last Spoke did the same thing, because it ended with this openness of this case is still unsolved. This case is still unsolved. And it's like, great, like, okay. And I like true crime, and I really appreciate and value looking into unsolved cases because I believe they should and can be solved. But in a horror book, you just gotta do it right, and he hasn't been hitting the mark with his endings for me. And so I'm gonna give this one 3.5 stars. Not a bad book. In fact, I actually recommend it if you love a good little novella. And I enjoyed LaRocca's, you know, kind of different approach to writing here. We have multiple layers of poetry, audio recordings, novella collections. It was a good little interspersing. I would have preferred if it was a little bit more personal, like if the journalist had left notes on what he developed and found. And okay, here's my issue. Why doesn't the novella You've Lost a Lot of Blood connect more solidly to the audio recordings or the poems? Why doesn't it say this poem shows this novella collects to this crime? Where are we seeing these? Where's the acknowledgement of the victims? We don't get that. So why should I even care what these men have done? Because I don't really even know what their crimes are. They're alluded to, they're mentioned, but like there is no personalization for the people that have been victimized here, fictionally, of course. And so I can't connect to why I should even care about this journalist collecting stuff from Murder Black, because as far as I'm concerned, Murder Black is a pompous serial killer who doesn't deserve any glory, recognition, or fame. And I didn't really want to read his novel because I was like, this novel is crap anyway. Good thing it's not a real novel, because boy, would I have left him a scathing Goodreads review. But I get what LaRocca was trying to do. I just think it didn't hit the mark. So 3.5 stars overall. Do recommend purchasing a copy if you love these covers. I love these covers. I think the artist is fantastic. I can't remember who it is, but they have great covers. The ebook cover is different. It has the hand from the novella. So if you're looking for it on Amazon, you're not going to find this one, this cover. You're gonna see this cover, but like blown up. So yeah, I also have started reading Just Like Mother by Anne Heltzel. This one is stunning. Look at that cover. Isn't it haunting? Doesn't it make you uncomfortable? I just love it. So good. I think I'm on like chapter 4 or 5 of the audiobook. I have been lucky enough to have started getting arcs from Tor Nightfire. I feel like I am a great reviewer, blogger, YouTuber now. I'm like, yes, because y'all don't even know, like, Tor is my favorite publisher. I've been reading Tor shorts for free online since I was in like high school. I love Tor. Like, they've published some of the best fantasy, sci-fi, horror novellas. I adore them. So anytime I have an opportunity to read something by Tor.com or Tor Nightfire, I will try. And I have always been rejected. And then like a couple years ago, I started to get accepted every now and then. Now I'm like getting publisher emails and I'm like, the publicist is emailing me. They're inviting me. It's an exciting time. So I got an e-arc copy of this, which is good so I can read it when I'm out and about. I have this copy that I purchased because I pre-order Tor Nightfire books because I enjoy Tor Nightfire. I haven't pre-ordered all of them. I think I haven't got the newest Thomas Hovolt Olde, whatever his name is. That one, I think it's called Hex. Haven't gotten that one yet. But that's because I want to read, Echo. I want to read Hex first to see if I like it. But yeah, I just love Tor Nightfire. And they were kind enough to also accept my request for the audiobook. And the audiobook narration, you guys. Mwah, beautiful. Her voice is so good. I'm enjoying it. So Just Like Mother is about Maeve. And Maeve and her cousin, what's her cousin's name? Andrea, have this tumultuous relationship. They lived with their two mothers growing up, one who was the blonde mother and one who was the mother with the lazy eye. And their childhood had a lot of secrets and it was super messed up. And you see that in the prologue's opening, and it's like, I'm pretty sure that they were kidnapping children. And that's essentially what you do figure out, because eventually, starting in chapter 1 after the prologue, you learn that Maeve somehow got them turned in, and she ended up being adopted and placed in foster care. And Andrea and her were split up, and eventually they come together. And it's just so fascinating. It's got this really great character study for Maeve, and I feel like I'm really getting to know her character. I am creeped out by her relationship with Andrea because it seems very foreboding and very haunting, especially based off of Andrea's weirdness and violence in the prologue towards her cousin Maeve. So I am quite intrigued by Just Like Mother. I think it's going to be a 5-star, and I feel quite confident in my 5-star rating because I am enjoying it. Also, I'm getting to the part where they're going to a house that Andrea and her husband are renovating. I am hoping it is spooky and haunted, because we're just going to elevate. Like, it's just going to get better. I have not read the summary in a long time. Do not want to, because I just want to keep, going through this novel and being shocked and having fun. And I'm enjoying it. And I can't wait to see where this release goes, because I think it's going to be a great one. So those are my updates. I do recommend You've Lost a Lot of Blood by LaRocca. I would probably recommend getting the ebook over the physical book, unless you are a collector and want your edition to match the original. Things have gotten worse since we last spoke, which, by the way, you can no longer purchase that original copy because it's been picked up by Dutton, which I've pre-ordered the new release. So I'm gonna have 2 copies of that book, but also I think it's gonna have 2 unreleased novellas. So new extra content will be coming from him this year. I also think he has another novella coming out. LaRocca is just doing things. I know he goes by both. They're doing great things. I think it's super exciting, and I'm enjoying seeing more LGBTQ horror outside of the typical norm. This one was fascinating, definitely interesting in terms of writing style and kind of going outside the box. This one by Heltzel is pretty much your typical creepy novel, and I'm here for it. I just really like her writing style, which, speaking of, she works in publishing. You can definitely tell. Like, sis knows how to write a book. Yeah, there's just something about people who work in publishing. When you read one of their books, you just know, like, they have an eye for editing and writing. This woman can write a character, y'all. Like, I love me a good in-depth character study. That's what was lacking here. It wasn't deep enough for me. This creepy, unsettling, there's so much introspection that it's unnerving. They just feel unsettling because the characters themselves have experienced so much traumatic events that it's like, how far has this trauma changed them? Kind of in the same vein that Sundial explored, which still highly recommend Sundial if you haven't picked up Catriona Ward's most recent book. So that's where I'm going to leave off with this update. I'll check in with you guys later. Bye. Hello everyone. It's been a while, okay? I was supposed to update you days ago. It is currently a Thursday, and I finished Just Like Mother on a Monday. Yeah, was it Monday? I think it was Monday. I listened to the audiobook of this, and I read alongside of it with the ebook, the e-arc that I had, which they do make a good bit of changes to the way that things are said, and I think my overall impression is this was edited to be more succinct and less like a spoon-fed, because every now and then she would use lines in the e-arc, and I'd be like, this is like too like on the nose. But gosh, you guys, I love this. This was good. Like, this is such a slow burn for like, I'm gonna say this much. This is all slow. And then this is just off the wall, crazy, ridiculous, shocking cult stuff. And like, I love character studies. I love character studies in horror. I also love cult books. And I also like the exploration of motherhood here. It's weird. I've been reading a couple short stories and novels about motherhood recently. Like recently I finished reading Cursed Bunny, which has 2 stories at the beginning that explore the concept of motherhood and creation. This one also does that, and it explores it from the way of what happens when you have enough trauma that you do not want to be a mother, but the world is telling you you have to be a mother, and even all the women around you see motherhood as the ultimate goal. And then what even happens if the cult that you broke out from is obsessed with the reproductive rights of women and creating more women and see men as the scum of the earth, right? And then even going a step further, what do we do with that when we are confronted with the fact that now we're forced into motherhood? So yeah, trigger warnings for rape, violent sexual assault, not once but twice, and then also forced impregnation. So, you know, this gets very graphic towards the end in terms of what our main character, what's her name again? Maeve experiences. Maeve experiences such intense trauma throughout the entirety of this book. And, you know, I'm gonna just say this up front. Maeve is dumb. Maeve, my girl. Andrea is full of red flags. Why would you trust this woman? Like, and it's just like everything, once Andrea started coming into her life, things were like, oh, lost this person dies, don't have this and this and this happened. And it's like, come on now. And Andrea's got a creepy, spooky dooky mansion, right, that she is renovating. Obviously, stuff is gonna go down at this mansion. I thought it was gonna be a haunted mansion. It's not. I liked where the story went. I enjoyed the commentary on cults and the inflation of cults in regards to social media, because there was a lot of commentary on like how Andrea and her friend, whose name I can't remember, but she was the woman who helped start up New Life, and just the commentary that we saw with these women presenting themselves on social media, and then how once everything came out, it's wild. It's crazy. It is so good. It is delicious. It's juicy. My jaw was on the floor, but I do wish that I would have been warned of the graphicness of the forced labor scenes. I am glad I'm not a pregnant woman. Do not read this if you're pregnant and you're already scared of your labor time, because it is like Rosemary's Baby level of terrifying in regards to like pregnancy. And then like the commentary on like just how if you really already don't want to be a mother, then that birthing process is not, it's not it. It was terrifying. It was unsettling. It made me like feel anxious, very anxious. I was like, I'm not even the one giving birth, and I felt like I was in her position and I was terrified for her. So yeah, that's just something I wish I had been warned of, because it is quite jarring, and it is very different from the beginning of this novel that's slow and a good little character study, and it just goes full on force into like claws and terror and panic and possible dying. Like I said, I would not read Just Like Mother if you are pregnant or if you're having issues with pregnancy. I would just not read this if you are looking to have children currently. I would wait until like you've had the kids for like a month or two and the trauma is not there, because I don't know if you've had like a traumatic birthing experience, this could probably trigger you. So just keep those things in mind, because I have literally seen and heard no one talk about this. But it's great. Oh my gosh, you guys, like I can't even tell you how impressed I am with this book.
It was spectacular. My one qualm was, I don't know, what else is in Heltzel written? It says this is her adult debut. So she has books for children and young adults, which is interesting because I thought she was writing romance books before this. This woman, she read some very sexual content. And it got a little like 50 Shades of Grey at one point. I was like, girl, I don't want to read all this. And I was skipping through my audiobook because I was like, this is not what I signed up for today. Not that there's anything wrong with that. It's just I didn't want to listen to that in a car with my father. So I was like, brr, 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 brr. He couldn't hear. I had headphones on. But still, it's the thought, okay? It's the thought. I was like, skip. Well, I'm shocked. I thought she wrote romances. But yeah, that was like my one issue with this. Still, it's a 5-star read. I pretty much loved everything about that. That little minor issue is minor enough that I do not care. Just Like Mother is a solid 2022 release. I'm so excited. This is like a surefire 5 stars. And in the audiobook, y'all, narrator was fantastic. I can't recommend this enough. You guys have to buy this. Buy it, listen to it, love it, engage with it. Tell me about it. I want to talk to people about this book. It's so freaking good. So yeah, I will check back in with you guys. Let me show you like my project, okay? I'll give you an idea of what's currently going on. So as you can see, I wallpapered a bookshelf. Did that. And I currently have a ton of books on the floor that need to be organized. And then I have my little TBR cart all the way over there. If you can see my TBR cart, the top row is like 22 releases. So this is like all the 2022 releases I've read so far that I own. So that's the goal. This just looks so good. I'm obsessed with the link. So yeah, that's currently the process of what I'm doing. I have 3 possible books that I can read right now for the 2022 releases vlog I'm doing. I could either read Black Tide, Hyde, or Lamp Nova. Black Tide just came out and I got my pre-order yesterday. Hyde is a book club pick for the Literary Dead book club, and I also think Jardaline. And then Lamp Nova I got an arc of, and I think, or is it Lap Nova? Lap Nova, sorry. I keep calling it Lamp Nova. Lap Nova. I think I saw Kayla reading it on a sprint a couple days ago. I hope she enjoys it. I am looking forward to it because Atesha Moshfegh is weird, wacky, and fun. And I really enjoyed Eileen when I read it, and this one's supposed to be like The Village. But I think I'm going to read Black Tide next, and then maybe Lap Nova, and then Hyde. I think that's the order I'm going to go in. So I will keep you updated. Hello, you guys. I'm back to update you. I have started Black Tide by Casey Jones. Let's see. Okay, I don't think I've told you guys what this is about. So essentially, we have 2 characters that we're following the perspectives of. One of them is named Beth, and one of them is named Mike. Beth is an alcoholic, a kind of destructive personality type. She tends to, like she says, look for trouble, and she kind of thrives on toxic men and relationships. And then we have Mike, who is next door to the house that Beth is sitting. So Beth is sitting a house that has a dog named Jake. We love Jake. I am a dog person, so like yes. And then we have Mike, who is this producer who lives next door, and she kind of like invites herself over there, and they get super drunk. They like have a one-night stand, and then this is like all in the first 2 chapters. Within the first chapter, they hook up. By chapter 2, we switch to Mike's perspective, and Mike leaves Beth a note on the computer and is like, hey, thanks for being here and making this lonely dude happy. I'm sorry that it has to be this way. And he goes out into the ocean, or I don't know if they're an ocean, but he goes out into the water at the beach, and he attempts to drown himself. And while he is, attempting suicide, he looks up and there are meteors dropping from the ground. And it's not like 1 or 2 meteor showers. It is like thousands and thousands of meteors coming, and they're hitting the beach. And he's like, it sounds like an earthquake, an explosion. And he decides in that moment that he doesn't want to die. And then he blacks out. And so that's like the first 2 chapters. And we are let known from the synopsis that things are gonna go awry with this beach. It's kind of slow right now. I'm only on page 56, so I'm past the 50-page mark. And it's very slow build. I don't like Beth. I really don't like Beth. I just wish that this book was specifically from Mike's perspective. Beth's narrative writing, the way that her story is written, her chapters, her character voice is very grating, and I just don't care for it. Whereas Mike, his narrative chapters are much more lyrical, and they have like more pondering moments, whereas Beth is like so drunk that she never knows what's going on. So I don't know what I'm reading. I'm like, oh my god, sis, like, are we getting attacked by monsters? Are we having a dream? I don't know. And so I don't vibe with her chapters. Mike, on the other hand, I like him, and I like that he is, you know, regretful of a lot of things in his life, and he's struggling with a lot. So I like that we have these 2 really messed up characters who are like, oh, well, maybe we can like find happiness in each other. Because I'm like, oh, it's kind of like a little romantic horror. That's not my genre, but I'm like vibing with it so far. I don't like Beth, but I feel like I like her with Mike. So I don't know. All I know is things are kind of heating up. Monsters are gonna start popping up on the beach. That's what I'm here for. I love a good monster story. I love a good beach monster story. That is something I don't read a lot of. So like when I heard that this book was coming out at the end of May, I was like, Black Tide is where it's at. This is what I am excited for. This is one of my most anticipated releases. However, here's where the bad news comes in. As of right now, this is reading like a 3-star to me, which isn't bad. Like 3 stars are just pretty mediocre, middle of the road. Like, I don't know. I'm not gravitating towards picking it up. Like for me, when I'm reading a 5-star book, I'm like, I can't put it down, or there's something about the writing. And as of right now, it's not feeling like a 4-star. It could get there. Like with the pacing, if the monsters get crazy and things pick up, I feel like we could get to a 4-star. But the start of this book is feeling very 3-star, mediocre, and I'm like depressed about it because like I had such really high expectations for Black Tide, and I was so excited about it. And as of right now, I'm just like, yeah, it's a novel. So who knows where it could go. You know, this is a 2020 release, and from what I'm seeing when it comes to 2020 releases, they are a mixed bag. You either love them or you hate them. But my last 2022 release was Just Like Mother, and Just Like Mother was amazing. So it's hard to go from such an amazing novel that has been released to this. And I don't know. This is also a debut. So Just Like Mother's a debut, and then Black Tide is a debut. And as of right now, they're 2 very different stories. But the thing is like, this is more my alley. So I just thought I would love it a lot more. But, you know, we're still early on. Things could change here. You know, there is hope. I'm hoping it'll get a lot better. I would love for this book to surprise me and blow me out the water. I want to be surprised. So that's my update. I will check in with you guys later.
Okay, it's been like 3 weeks. Okay, I went on vacation. I went to New Mexico. Didn't bring this book with me. So 2 nights ago, I was like, you know, I should probably finish Black Tide before June ends, because like I'm reading all these other books. Like, Sarah, what else did you read when you were on vacation? Not a whole lot, but I read The Roo, which was about a killer kangaroo. And I also started It Happened in One Summer. Hold on, I got them right here. So, like, I read this. This was 2 stars. It's not a 2022 release, but I mean, if you're looking for like a really short horror novella that has all the vibes of a 90s horror novella, I mean, listen, I gave it 2 stars. And that's like being generous because I found it to be very boring and like the comedy got to be tedious after a while. But like, a kangaroo jumped on somebody's shoulders and smushed him to the ground. So like, I can't give that 1 star. The creativity was there. And then I started reading It Happened One Summer. Spoilers, but not spoilers. I am going to be doing some romance videos. So I read this. I loved it. It's 5 stars. It is amazing. It is beautiful. It's everything I knew it would be because like I love Schitt's Creek. And I think Alexis is like a really great, fun, you know, just fabulous, ridiculous main character to follow. So following Piper, who is the essence of Alexis, was just what I needed. And then I loved Brendan, like, say less. But we're not here to talk about my obsession when it happened one summer because I'll leave that for another video. I'm here to update you on Black Tide, which I just finished today with 4 days in the month to spare, okay? So woohoo, I did it. I finished Black Tide. This is actually the last book I'm going to talk about in this video because I have a bunch of other 22 releases that I need to talk about in a separate video, and then I'll start another vlog. I keep saying I'm going to read Lap Nova. I will get to it. This is like, I guess, that elusive arc that I'm just not getting to. It is my fault, okay, you guys? But anyway, Black Tide by Casey Jones. Not a bad book. I think overall I'm going to give it 3.5 stars. The writing has its moments. My biggest takeaway from this is it's a great look into the mental health struggle and the depression that one faces when you're hit with really tough times in life. You have these 2 characters, one who feels like she's nothing but a, you know, the worst of the worst, that she's always messing things up. And then you have another character who is this great successful guy who has gone through an extreme tragedy. And I won't spoil what the tragedy is because you don't get clarity on it until like the last 30 pages about what exactly happened. And then there's like a weird supernatural element at the end connected to that reveal. So that was weird. And overall, this has cosmic horror vibes. So what do I mean by that? I mean, if you want to read an end of the world story where there are big jellyfish monsters in the sky and little creatures called bowling balls and these things called shriekers ready to eat you and attack you, and you're stuck on a beach with just this man that you slept with last night or just this woman that you slept with last night, and you're trapped with a dog, each other, and the key is somewhere in the sand. You're surrounded, you're trapped. If that is the vibe you're looking for, this book is it. It's got the vibes. However, I just wasn't obsessed with it. Like, good post-apocalyptic novel, or in the midst of a apocalyptic novel, I like the cosmic horror element here. I thought that was done pretty well. I liked that Mike was always trying to guess and figure out, oh, this could be this and this could be that. That led a good element because the other main character, Beth, doesn't have an analytical mind. She's much more like, she can like see something and go, oh, we should do this to survive. Whereas Mike is like, yeah, but like this alien has this thing that they do and this thing they avoid. And so there's like a good juxtaposition of their character arcs there. Did I love it? No. Did I enjoy it? Sometimes. And I do think that this is one of those novels where my expectations were just too high. And that's not this book's fault. That is my fault because I heard the synopsis and I was like, most amazing thing in the world. And it was really hard for me to connect to Beth because I just did not like how Casey Jones wrote her personality. But in the long run, I did enjoy it overall. And 3.5 is a pretty good rating. For me, a 3-star would be mediocre. This is above mediocrity, so like that's good, especially when it comes to a cosmic horror novel that is in an isolated setting like this. So, do I recommend buying, borrowing, or skipping this? I actually think you should borrow a copy of this. I read it with my eyes, not my ears, so I have no clue if the audiobook is good. But I do have an inkling suspicion that if I had listened to this on audio, I would have loved it a little bit more, because there are a little bit more cinematic elements since Casey Jones is a screenplay writer. So I think that auditory listening experience would have enhanced and just really made me appreciate the story more. But because I read it with my eyeballs, I put it down for like 3 weeks. Okay, that's the reality. So yeah, not a bad one, not the best one. And I'm honest, just like Mother, I'm still on that Just Like Mother high, okay? Like that 2022 release just blew me out the park. And I'm looking to have another high like Just Like Mother because that book was so much fun. So that's all for this video. Let me know down below in the comments if you're going to read, skip, borrow any of these books or buy. You should buy Just Like Mother for sure, especially the audiobook, okay? Like, so good. So let me know down below, what are you anticipating? What 22 releases do you want me to film, give my thoughts on? I am really into reading new releases this year. I think this is the year that I've read the most new releases, so that's really cool. I tend to be a backlist girly, but this year I'm in both ends, so that's fun. So I will catch you guys in my next 22 release video. Bye.